All right, welcome to episode number 1 of Roadmap to 7 Figures with Amazon FBA. And so this is Michael. This is my partner, Ryan. We currently run a community called FBA University, and we teach in that community how to build and be profitable through Amazon FBA, which is Amazon fulfillment, really in the first 6 months to year of your business. So what this show is about is Ryan and I are both private label sellers. We were able to escape the corporate 9 to 5, a lot longer than 9 to 5 for me. I was working CPA, but now, you know, we have our own e-commerce brands. We also run a community. We thought, what better way to show the people step by step than to build a brand, build a company together in public and film the content. And that's what the roadmap to 7 figures is going to be. So I'll just give you a little bit of backstory. So again, my name is Michael. I was a CPA. I went to school for accounting and I got my CPA. I live in the United States. And so I started out working for a big 4 accounting company called Deloitte. Great people there. The overall job, absolute shit to me, right? So I was working 40, 60, up to 70 hours in certain parts of the year. And it was basically my entire day was spent in Microsoft Excel, really doing small pieces of an overall huge project where you never really even understand what you're doing or have any autonomy through your day. So I started out, I knew I didn't want to do that the rest of my career quickly, but I didn't quite know what the next path was. I knew I didn't want to go back to school, and I also didn't want to take a dip in income. And so that leaves you in a predicament, right? So how do you not give up money and also make sure your income doesn't go down while you don't have to go back to college, because I was done with that. And so all the way back in 2017, I started out doing lead generation and building SEO websites, and that was good. I started linking up with clients, mostly blue collar services in small middle market US towns, building sites in those towns, selling those sites as lead generation sites to the businesses. Still have that business today. Didn't really see a way to scale, nor was I that interested in it, but it gave me the validation that online income was real and that the skills that you learn can lead to money very quickly. And so I was just still working as a CPA, and then March 2020 hits. And at that point, it was the first time I had to start working from home. And instead of a lot of the day-to-day, which keeps you in the game, the corporate travel, the, happy hours, just being around people, right? That was all stripped away. And so I was working in the winter, which in accounting and busy season is in the winter. It's the busiest time of the year. I was sitting in a room, basically just me, the room, the screens, 10, 12 hours a day. And immediately I knew shit had to change, right? So at that point, I dove back into the infamous how to make money online Google search the second time. And so I came across Amazon FBA, and I had heard about this business model, but didn't really understand it. And so what I liked about FBA was that it was a business model I once reading could fully understand. It was just retail without any of the brick and mortar any leases having to be signed, any warehousing having to be organized to store inventory. None of that. You were relying on Amazon to do all of the manual part. You just handled the marketing and business organization. And so right there, a light went off. And so I dove into Amazon research. Fast forward a few weeks, and I found my first product, launched it through a little bit of beginner luck and just a lot of grit and a lot of motivation in terms of wanting to get out of a job. That first product hit 40K in sales, not in profit. We'll get into that later, but in sales on month 4. And at that point, it was green light ahead. I knew, okay, this is real. If one product's doing 40K a month, what could a whole catalog did? Basically launched a bunch of products, and within 7 months of selling, I was able to walk away from the CPA job. So, 7 months of selling and being profitable allowed me to walk away. Since then, I've scaled my brand, created a course, an ebook, partnered up with Ryan, and we do a lot of one-on-one mentoring, and we created Amazon FBA University, where we really educate and provide answers to beginner all the way through intermediate and some advanced Amazon sellers who can just use answers to the questions that are holding them up. And so my brand's still going. I'm planning, I did about 600K last year and looking to scale that to over $1 million in sales this year. And then I'm planning on an exit after I organize everything in 2024, 2025 time period. But bringing it back to this, we're building a brand with the Amazon FBA University name. So that's basically my backstory, and I'm going to pass it to my guy Rye. He's going to give you some of his own.
Yeah, for sure. No, thanks, Michael, for the intro. Your story is inspiring. So my story, a little bit similar to Michael's. We actually, funny enough, both work for the same company originally, which was Deloitte. So we both have, pain points and pain stories there. But my story, I started out, graduated from university, studied economics, went straight into pretty much the working world. So as I said, worked for Deloitte in management consultancy, focusing mainly on investment banking. So, I worked at all the big houses, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Barclays Capital, on the retail side, Lloyd's and HSBC too. And basically during my final stint at Morgan Stanley, I was working with a buddy there. And, we came up with the idea of Amazon FBA because we were both looking for another alternative stream of income that could essentially replace our 9-to-5s. He came up with Amazon FBA, and his version of it at the time was going out, finding books from charity stores, thrift stores, Goodwill stores, and flipping them for profit on the Amazon website. So that's how I came into Amazon FBA. That was my first exposure to it. So I did that for a couple of months and flipped a couple of grand from that. And it was really good. So it proved to me that it worked, and it proved to me that, this was something that I could pursue. However, that was flipping books, and the revenue was a little bit slow. So I knew I had to switch it up. So then I moved into what's called retail arbitrage, which is essentially where you find a product in a store or online, mainly in a store, and then you find the exact same product on Amazon and it's selling at a higher price. And then you basically make the margin. So you ensure there's enough of a margin there once you take away Amazon fees that you're able to make a profit. So I did that, made a bunch of money doing that. And then tried my hand at both online arbitrage, which is the same thing, but just doing it online from the comfort of your own home. And then I tried my hand at wholesale. That was pretty good. But what I found was I wasn't selling in great enough volume. And the volume I was selling in, I was attracting a lot of competition. So, the margins were being reduced. People were penny pinching, undercutting me. So, I quickly established that this probably wasn't as sustainable as I first thought. And I knew that I needed to get on something else. And that's kind of where I came across private label, which in the UK has a little bit of a taboo. You get a lot of resellers in the UK, not many people in the UK doing private label. In fact, I don't know any in the UK doing private label. So yeah, I decided to buck the trend, get involved. Launched my first product January 2020. So just before the coronavirus pandemic. And basically, it didn't quite go to plan. It wasn't the massive knockout that I thought it would be. So managed to break even on that first batch of units, and then went back to the drawing board, really refined my product research technique and my methodology. Took a lot more time out to actually go through numbers, learn how to use product research software like Helium 10, and refine my entire process. So launched my second and third products in quick succession. They were thankfully a lot more successful. Built the revenue up, and basically by sort of September, I think it was around June to September, I can't quite remember, I was able to quit my 9 to 5 and basically embraced the freedom that comes with running your own business. And then quickly build out my brand. Now I've got 6 products, actually launching my 7th product, but those 6 products I've got 4 variations. Building it out, building the revenue up, and basically it's gone from strength to strength. Like Mike said, we connected on Twitter. I started selling courses on Gumroad on how to learn Amazon FBA, because everyone kept DMing me saying, how do we learn this? How do we do it? And people always asked me, why did you start a course? It was because I was getting hammered through the DMs and I just couldn't keep up with the requests from people. So I said, hey, if you want to know this information, you can pay for it. So put my courses out there. They were really good. So did 6 figures in my first year on that, and then built out, what has now become basically Amazon FBA University. Sowed the seeds early on, Mike and I. Built it out, and we launched on December 6th with, pretty much instantly we had around 200 members. So now we're hitting almost the 250, 300 member mark, which is incredible. We're going from strength to strength. We do live demos with software providers such as Buybot Pro and Helium 10. We produce product leads every day. We do OA leads. We do product analysis. We do product research, and we just help all of our members thrive and just generate more income through Amazon and increase their knowledge. And on top of that, Mike and I run a one-to-one mentorship program, which is a private label accelerator through the university and through other sort of sources we've got. We basically take people on and take them through a 12-week syllabus that basically takes them from knowing nothing to, by the end of the 12 weeks, having a fully fledged private label product with their brand building out on the Amazon platform. And it's been really successful. We're currently in the 3rd cohort. So we've had 2 successful programs. And yeah, it's something that we hope to run every quarter, and it's going from strength to strength. Every intake, it gets better and better. And yeah, it's just amazing. We're thriving, and this is just a beautiful thing. So Mike, I'm going to hand it back to you now. Why don't you tell them a bit more about what we've done from a background perspective in terms of our own private label brand and kind of where we're going with that?
Yeah, 100%. What we're doing and what private label means is just creating your own brand, right? So just real quick, the difference between, you can resell on Amazon, you can resell popular brands, let's say Nerf, Lego, Barbie. People do that and make profit on what's called arbitrage, buying it lower elsewhere, whether it's in person or online, selling it for more. You can create somewhat of a business like that. Or you can create plenty of business, but the issue is it's lower margin, and it's hard to know if those arbitrage opportunities will continue to exist. And so why we've stuck to private label primarily, I do wholesale as well, and Ryan does some reselling as well, just because on Amazon you can make money. But what we're doing is FBA University as a brand, where we coach, educate, run our online community. We are opening a private label brand under that company. And so what we've done thus far is filed for an LLC. So I live in the state of Texas. I live in Austin, Texas. And so I filed in the state of Texas for an LLC. Haven't heard back. Actually filed last week. It didn't go through properly, so filed again this morning. But why we wanted to file in Texas, one, I live there, so it's always easier to file in a state where you live. Otherwise, you need a registered agent, which most like LegalZoom, all these service providers will set you up with, but it costs an extra fee. And so another reason, Texas is a non-state income or non-income tax having state. So, if you live in the US, if you live in California, you pay the federal tax, and you also pay your California state income tax. It's 2022 now, so that it's very high. I think it's close to double digits there. So you want to file an LLC in a state that doesn't pay income tax. If I didn't live, say I lived in Seattle, Washington, where I'm from, I would probably file in either Wyoming or Delaware, two states that don't have income tax, and also have business privacy protection. And so all of that is just to set us up to launch a business. And so there's a couple different reasons once you're selling that an LLC is nice. One, if anything were to go wrong with your product, say you sell a toy and someone gets hurt. This has never happened in any of my students' experience, but say someone were to get hurt, or someone were to just feel like they wanted to sue you, if a company provides protection from you personally and whoever were to come after you. And so that's one reason. And then two is from a tax perspective, is if you just sell as an individual, well, then your payments and all your revenues coming directly to you as a person, you have to, by the letter of the law, you are required to report all that on your income report. And so by using an LLC, what we can do is elect to have it taxed as an S corporation, and then have all of our income go to the LLC, the S corp, which is, it's confusing, but anyway, you can elect to be taxed as you want. We only will take distributions from the company when we want the cash, for whatever reason. But then we're only taxed on the distributions that are taken from it. Everything else sits in there and isn't taxed. And so that's what we've done so far. What's next is finding a product, right? We have the LLC. We're getting the admin set up. Ryan, why don't you tell them about how we're going to dive into product research?
Yeah, sure. So guys, the next time you see us, we'll be diving headfirst into the product research aspect of things. So Mike and I have pretty similar product research techniques and methodology, but essentially two things, right? We're going to be finding products that are in high demand. So we're going to validate that using Helium 10, our preferred software provider. We're not sponsored by them yet. But that's the software that we choose to go with. Mike and I have used several other different bits of software, but we really prefer Helium 10. I think they're a great all-in-one software tool to basically help you aid your private level business. And I can do my private level business without them. So that's fantastic. So we're going to dive deep into Helium 10. But essentially, high demand, we're going to validate with Helium 10, and low competition. So if you nail a product that's high demand and low competition, there's a couple other nuances going on, and we'll dive into that absolutely. But those are the two main things. We want to make sure that it's selling on Amazon. It's doing pretty good numbers, and that demand is consistent all year round. So we'll check Google Trends, we'll check the metrics to make sure that, it's not a seasonal product. It's not a fad that's only been around for a couple of months. We want to make sure that it's evergreen and has longevity going forward. So hopefully we can be selling this in 2 to 5 years time. And then the second thing is the low competition. So we're really going to be looking for products that aren't saturated yet. We definitely want to see a clear entry for us into the market. We want to be able to differentiate, whether that's through bundling, whether that's through adding things like a free ebook, adding other accompanying products, differentiating with color, adding features, and really looking at correcting customer pain points that customers are calling out through the reviews. So we're doing all of that good stuff, and we'll take you through that all the way. So next week, you'll see us dive into Helium 10. We'll show you all the parameters that we search for, so our filters that we use to actually find these products. We're talking through our favorite categories, which off the top of my head are baby, pet supplies, and home and kitchen. I love. Most of my products are actually in the home and kitchen niche. But we'll talk you through all that good stuff, and we really can't wait to show you this. Our members at FBA University, all 250 of them, they're really counting on us. A lot of them are just starting out their journey, and as the founders, it would give them a lot more confidence to see us go through the entire process. So yeah, we really can't wait. It's going to be a real over-the-shoulder exercise. So you're going to see me and Mike dive straight into product research. We'll take you through all our pain points, and you'll kind of live it with us. So it's going to be an interactive experience. You can see us in the comments. Feel free to ask us any questions, and when we shoot the next video, we'll be sure to answer them. So really looking forward to this, and yeah, can't wait, buddy.
Roadmap to 7 figures. All right, next time you see us, we'll be finding a product.
Hell yeah. Let's go, baby.